Right? Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, members, this is just a little bonus. I thought it might be nice to release this to you guys a little bit early. Just FYI, well, I've actually already changed the language in the memberships and added this as a perk. Sometimes I'll do early access videos and videos like the Thursday bonuses. And I've been doing those come out here first and then get released over there in my main channel. And so I just wanted, I'll give you guys a video to update the changes that I made and the fact that I've added a perk and changed the language, but that'll be a separate video that'll come out right after this. But in the meantime, I wanted to do this one as an added bonus for my lovely members. Also, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I am always so incredibly honored. Love catching up with you guys. Thank you for choosing to support my channel the way you do. My heart is very warmed. But this is the singles storyline. Okay, so singles storyline is the one that I usually put out every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And so this one will come out on my main channel on Sunday, but you guys get to see it first. All right, so I'm going to do every single zodiac, and then I will timestamp these also. Hey, Tiffany, great to see you, girl. All right, starting with Virgo at 50 seconds. All right, Virgo, here we go. So for retrograde and singles vibe, I'm putting those two together. So I look at retrograde, which technically starts on Sunday. I look at it as a chance to just simply readdress things as an older and wiser version of ourselves. And we have the Chariot. This is Cancerian energy. Virgo might be in a place where they are reflecting and they're realizing that they've moved on. Thank you so much, Signs and Things, you angel. Thank you, sweetie pie. You're so generous. Virgo might be moving forward after whatever this series of events have been in their life. I really feel like Virgo has completed some chapters. They're done with the game, so to speak. If they had a tit for tat back and forth kind of situationship or energetic, like, they would go back and forth in their own mind over something. I feel like Virgo has come to the end of that struggle. So this retrograde represents for our Virgo perhaps a real breaking away and breaking free of the back and forth thought processes. And this says that they have really accomplished something huge. Our Virgo has reached a point of I'm going to say they won the chess game against themselves. They've gotten to that point and they are ready to pour their energy into the next endeavor. But here's the wonderful bonus to this for our Virgo. That thought process, that analyzing process that they went through, that gaining closure on a relationship or situationship that was really, it required a lot of our Virgo to kind of sort out in their mind. Hey, Melly, that is really awesome to see. That energy has actually benefited them a great deal because they're not starting from ground zero. Part of Virgo's, I'll say, life process. So say this is a single story, but say this single Virgo really needed to work through a particular relationship in their life in order to get beyond it. Well, that was super valuable. That was an important chapter of their life, and it got them to the 8 of Pentacles already, which means they're getting pretty dang close to getting to that 10. So this process was not like, oh, it was just a drag and I was just stuck in Groundhog Day. No, whatever this was that the Virgo had to go through, it was probably an emotional swinging pendulum that served them well to work through it. And I feel like this could have been quite a lengthy process. I mean, this is card 7, so maybe it was at least 7 weeks, or maybe it was 7 months, or maybe it was 7 years. But they have completed. And I think that Virgo, I'm picturing somebody who writes down an entire list of, okay, this is what I'm dealing with as I contemplate this relationship. And they would deal with one chunk at a time, work through one thing at a time until they crossed it all off their list. And then they're like, I'm done thinking about that. I have closure. Now, where does that leave me? Wow. I realize I learned a ton out of that experience. And now I'm at the freaking 8 of Pentacles, which means I'm only 2 Pentacles away from having the full blown 10. So Virgo is going to have a little chunk of amazing single, solo, kick up their heels kind of time, combined with I think they're going to feel re-energized right now. And I think it's kind of like Virgo's having this realization, then They are stepping off of that game board. They are recognizing that they're really close to achieving some pretty amazing like personal goals. Now, this time frame though could last a couple of years, right? We act like this happens fast, but probably all of this is talking about even the next 2 years of Virgo's life. They're going to be working hard on some completely different energies because they're done with this emotional journey that took a while to sort through. Now they're pouring their energy into something tangible. So right around this retrograde is a great time maybe for this fictional Virgo to get back to some really important projects and things that they wanted to do. They could possibly make way more progress suddenly in the next 8 days than they have in the last 8 years on a personal project. And part of it was this tangible personal project, which could earn Virgo a heck of a lot of money and bring them a lot of like, I'll even say like personal abundance. It was probably, I'm not going to say hampered by the emotional journey that they had been on, but I'm going to say the emotional lessons are going to be absolutely, it's going to have helped Virgo. So now they can blast off into some real success in a more tangible sense. It does say that right now the Virgo might really need to go ahead and pull their, hold on to their resources and their, carve out maybe like 4 hours a week to work on whatever this other project is. This is super exciting. And this is something that I think it's really positive. Virgo might be suddenly like super jazzed and like feeling super connected to their own interests and hobbies and their life and their own energies that they really want to, just like leap into and grasp a hold of. We have got the 7 of coins in the reverse. I think this is actually going to go a lot faster for Virgo. They need a little bit of, maybe they only need 4 days, but they need a little bit of personal time during this retrograde to just like put all their focus, all their energy into whatever this is. It could be a financially extremely beneficial project. If they can do that, bam, they take off like a little rocket. This is super exciting. It says that their success is like right there within their grasp, which is so nice because we're going from a Virgo who finished an emotional, taxing experience. And then it's almost like their reward is they get tangible results that could be financially incredibly beautiful. And it's not going to take long to get there because they're now shunting all their energy to this other project, whatever this is. Oh, it's so exciting. I feel like if this Virgo has a great idea, if they have something that they've really wanted to do, but they've been putting off for a long time because that emotional journey was taking so much from them, I feel like that's why they're going to suddenly have like a ton of completion and a ton of growth in their life all of a sudden is what it looks like. Hey guys, so nice to see you. OM, Broken Bee for Bliss, San Juanita, Abu, how are you? San Juanita, thank you so much. You are so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it would be good to go ahead and use kind of an intricate and ornate backdrop of an elephant just because it's about memories. And, obviously we can think about things from the past maybe that we're readdressing during Mercury retrograde. So that's why I chose to do that. But I'm so glad you guys like this one. I'm so glad you like it. That's awesome. All right, next up comes Taurus. Taurus coming in at 8 on the nose. All right, Taurus. This is a Mercury retrograde singles storyline. This will kind of touch base on the way I look at retrograde is like we come back around. Oh, Tiffany, thank you, Angel. You're so sweet. Thank you. You guys, thank you. So generous. Taurus, for Mercury retrograde for our singles, I look at retrograde as like just the time where we come back around to something. And it's we're older and wiser now. Because with retrograde, it's just that Mercury moves faster than Earth does, so it laps us. So it looks like it's going in the reverse, but it really isn't. So I look at it the same way I look at hands on a clock. Clock is never going backwards, it's always going forwards. But every time we pass, say 12, it denotes that we are 12 hours older, 12 hours more experienced. So that's the way I like to look at it. So what is the kind of like the message of what might come back around into Taurus's life that would be of great benefit to them? And how might they see it different? Well, we have an 8 of Wands. There's a chance to take significant action. If Taurus had wanted to do something like, say, take a trip, travel somewhere, and it wasn't possible, maybe it wasn't possible for the last 8 years, maybe it could be possible somewhere in the upcoming future now. If there's a plan, if there's a time for a conversation, it might be coming up now. Whereas in the past, it was no dice. It's like, I don't want to talk to that person. Nope. If we talked, we'd just fight. Nope. I have no desire to address this. Now, I could entertain the idea of this. Sometimes the things that we didn't think we would ever want to do, and it doesn't have to be about talking. It could be about taking action. It could be about taking a trip. It could be about going somewhere. It could be about going down to the local pub and finally singing karaoke. And before it was like, I will not do that. I would never do that. And then somehow over time, it feels like Taurus is going to like open up their voice for some reason. Maybe specifically this Taurus is, this almost feels like, I know it's very specific, but I'll say it anyway. If we have a Taurus who's like gifted with a really, lovely talent or something, this really might be the time to go ahead and share that talent if they feel so inclined. This could be a Taurus that is, much older. And at this point, they're like, oh, I didn't pursue that when I was, 19. It doesn't matter. Maybe it wasn't the right time to pursue it until now that Taurus is 56. There's just things in life that have to kind of simmer. When we make yummy stew, it's yummy because it sits on the stove for a while and slow bubbles. And so I feel like it's only just now going to be the right time to maybe take action, but that opportunity is coming back around. We have a 5 of Cups. I keep seeing the same message of the thing that we kind of chalked up as, oh, it's too late. No, in fact, it might be too late for somebody else to have this opportunity. Maybe Taurus was wise and they paused and they didn't take a run at something until they're really darn good and ready. This kind of looks like somebody else have, cast the dice a little too soon and chosen incorrectly. Taurus is ready to do something else. Now, this could also represent that there is someone out there that Taurus is thinking of, and Taurus might be aware, okay, I didn't want to hear that person say sorry, and I certainly didn't want to talk to them once upon a time in the past. Oh my God. So Anita, thank you. That's an awesome age. That's a beautiful age, by the way. This feels like if Taurus didn't want to talk to somebody and hear them out, that's totally fine. But they might be of a different mindset now. Maybe Taurus wants to go ahead and talk to somebody, or maybe Taurus is going to have a good cathartic cry themselves over the perception of like having missed out on something that in fact they haven't missed out on at all. Not everything is going to, like, I like to use Betty White as an example of this because I feel like, I've always, my whole life, I knew the name Betty White, but I feel like she got way more famous the older she got. And she was beautiful and talented when she was young, and she certainly had her success, but I just feel like the world loves Betty White, and particularly we love her as she aged even more and more. So maybe I'm wrong about that, but I always feel like her fame came on with every passing year. She was more famous. I feel like Dolly Parton is kind of the same. Like, we all love Dolly, she's a cutie, she's sweet, she's talented, she's like, I don't know, she's just always awesome. She's always amazing, It feels like that. Sometimes things really do become like fine wine and they get better and better and better. I gotta say, the 4 of Cups, this is about sifting through illusions and the perceptions of missed opportunities, but look at how peaceful our character is. Taurus, by the way, could be wearing white. They could be really feeling a sense of peace, especially right around this retrograde as they reflect and they go, oh my God, I didn't miss out on anything. It's right now might be my time. Now, will it still be an adventure? Is anything written in stone as to how it's all going to go? No, there's a lot of unknowns. As with any adventure, any opportunity, I feel like Taurus is going to do something brave, something that they wish that they had done before. They even shed some tears because they didn't do it. And now they're like all jazzed because they're realizing it wasn't the time for me to do it. That's why I didn't do it before. Now I'm ready. We have the tree that is shaped into a heart. So this could be about love as much as life adventures, but love is a pretty big adventure. Maybe Taurus didn't end up with someone. Maybe there's a reason they've been single because they let go of a connection. Maybe they had to, maybe they weren't ready to be married. Maybe after all this time in retrospect, they're like, man, I didn't think I wanted that, or it was a mess and I didn't work on it with that person, and then I regretted not. And now Taurus is like, no, when I think back, there's a damn good reason I didn't work things out with that person. They weren't the right person for me. My heart knew it then. Was it too bad? Was it sad? Yeah. But it would have been a mistake if I had tried to grind on and stay with somebody and work through all the problems that I knew then we wouldn't get through them. And now I have that perspective as I reflect during this retrograde. There's a reason I didn't stay and work harder at a connection. It wasn't right for me. But there is a connection up ahead for me. There is, I don't know exactly who it is. I don't exactly know what it's going to look like. I can't exactly see the future. I only know that I'm smack dab in the middle of it, and I feel good again. I feel happy again. If I were going to say what's the big message for Taurus, I feel like during this retrograde, Taurus is thinking back to a connection that they did not hold on to, or a job or anything like that that we let go of in life, and then we felt like, damn, what have I done? And we might have carried that mistaken idea of, I messed up my life. Oh my God, I should have. Why didn't I hold on to that? And during this retrograde, Taurus goes, bullshit. I did the right thing. That wasn't right for me. That's why I let it go. It takes a lot of courage to make the right decision and then not second guess oneself over and over and over again. But this is a beautiful time where I think Taurus is getting super real with themselves, and they're realizing the reason I didn't hold on to something is because it was an illusion that it would have been the right time for me or the right situation for me. It wasn't. I knew it then. I'm at peace with my decision now. I did what I did because of who I am, and I made the right call. Now, what comes next? I'll have a whole bunch of new calls to make. I'll have a whole bunch of new things to sift through. The idea of like getting to make new choices and needing to be really present and needing to be really like, all right, I'm gonna take this one chunk at a time with that Queen of Swords energy coming out sideways. It's like Taurus knows that they're gonna have choices to make, and they're gonna need to think quick on their feet. And they won't always get things right. That's a guarantee in life. We won't always get it right, but Taurus is really good at evaluating. That's one of the things they've realized about themselves during this retrograde. If I give myself pause and I think, why does my logic say no? Why does my gut say no? Why does my heart say no? Or why am I saying yes in any of those three categories? I think Taurus knows they can trust themselves as long as they pause for a moment and say, my instant reaction is this. Now, why? Aha, I can confirm. I know why I don't want this. And then they don't have to live in regrets of saying yes or no to things. That's a huge relief, I think, for this Taurus. They're pretty spot on, but man, this Taurus has new adventures up ahead. All right, next up, Capricorn coming in at 1712. All right, Capricorns, welcome back. This is a singles read for retrograde. I thought I'd break this down into each zodiac. I'm trying not to make them so long, but sometimes I get carried away. So Capricorn single. So I look at retrograde as a chance to just reflect on something that, yes, could be from the past. It doesn't mean it's coming back. It means we're older and wiser, and we can reflect maybe with more wisdom on something. We have a Seven of Swords. So if something comes back around into Capricorn's mind, it might be to sift through what was true versus what was false, because there is false energy here, right? Hey, Molly, Signs and Sinks, thanks again, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. You guys are getting this a little early. I'll release it on my channel on Sunday, but Capricorns, in this storyline, we've got that vibe of someone has not been truthful, and it's popping up. It's showing up in Capricorn's like energy field. Now, maybe it's Capricorn themselves. Maybe it was a Virgo. It's not about like, ooh, who was the liar, pants on fire. This is more about reflecting on, I kind of think that this is self-reflection for our Capricorn. But we have two masks here, admittedly. So it could have been Capricorn is reflecting on, you know what, maybe I didn't say everything true. Maybe neither did they. That happens sometimes in life. But as we kind of get to know ourselves a little bit better, we get to start, moving through, walking through our thought processes a little bit different. We start to say, okay, maybe I wasn't upfront with myself. Maybe they weren't upfront with themselves. But was there a lesson to be had here? Most likely. Seven of Cups. But there's still a question mark about, okay, It almost feels like Capricorn is wondering, was something my wish fulfillment or was it a bit of an illusion? Because it kind of feels to me like Capricorn still wants something. Excuse me, let me make sure that's not going to make noise. I'm kind of on call in the event. I have a friend who's going through something, and I'm on call in case they need me. So this feels like they're still on call, by the way. They're just on buzz instead of phone call. I feel like there's this question mark about, could this have worked though? We have a wheel of fortune. This feels a lot like the Taurus storyline, honestly, because there is an energy of sifting between what's an illusion versus what's real, looking deep inside and acknowledging some truths, which is, I still have a wish to do something or to talk to somebody or to be around somebody, but I don't really know what we could have been to each other. I don't really know how the situation would have worked out, but it might just be coming around to about the right time to reconnect and maybe try this all over again. This could be about a job. This could be about a career path. This could be about a romance. This could be about, wanting to join some hiking group. And it's like, I think it would be fun, but maybe not. Or something that, maybe I want to spend my money to, enroll in something. But, then I thought, I don't really know. Do I think it's legit? Is it something that would really add value to my life? Well, why is it that I'm still interested in it? I still don't really know how things could go, but I kind of feel like now might be the right time because I'm interested still. I'm interested all over again. To me, this feels like two things. It feels like possibly a romantic connection that never went anywhere, there wasn't even any dating ever involved. And yet there was maybe a little bit of interest. And now might be the time to readdress it, even though there's still no guarantees that things would work out and that we'd end up married and everything would be fabulous. Maybe we're just meant to be good friends. I don't know. But I think now might be the time to reach out to this person. So I kind of feel like Capricorn might be thinking about pursuing the mystery of whether or not someone, and this could have been like a suppressed attraction, like Capricorn and this person could have both pretended that they weren't that into each other. They could have, done that thing where it's like there's billions of little signals going back and forth between people, but they are not admitting it, or it's subtly acknowledged but no action is taken. And there was just never really transparency with how they both felt about each other. It kind of feels like that, like a simmered relationship that didn't go anywhere, never got to romance. And maybe Capricorn is feeling like, I think I want to readdress this. I think I want to talk to this person again. I think I might want to see, hey, should we pick this back up? Now, the other thing that I think this could be is literally either like a course or a seminar or something that Capricorn has wanted to go to, wanted to attend, someplace they've wanted to travel. This might have been like once upon a time they weren't sure if they were going to do it. Maybe they needed to go stay with a friend if they were going to travel and go to this event. And it's like, hey, I wonder if I could reach out to them now and say, I'm really thinking about going, but I wanted to check with you first. Do you still have that open invitation that I could stay there? Or, were you just casually inviting and it's not necessarily a real invite? It kind of feels thing that I didn't do a long time ago. I kind of think now's the time to find out if that thing will work out. So kind of, I really like this. So Anita, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Next up, we're going to go into Pisces. Pisces coming in at 2333. All right, Pisces, this is a singles storyline. And it is specifically for retrograde. 01 frequency, Black Butterfly. So good to see you. Thank you guys for being here. All right, so I looked at retrograde kind of like just the chance to come back around and think about something all over again. Not Mercury just laps us. It moves faster than Earth, so it looks like it's going in the reverse, but it's not. I look at it as we're a little older, a little wiser every time, retrograde comes around. So maybe we think about things, but from a slightly different perspective. So what might behoove our single Pisces to recontemplate? And we have a 9 of Pentacles. So First off, this could be a great time for Pisces to take a quick peek at their money habits, their saving habits, their earning habits, and they might just realize they've been doing a damn good job. This is like, wow, I've really been building things. I've really been growing things. I've really, I'm pretty darn good at this thing called life. There could be, and maybe it's small successes, but successes nonetheless. I think our character needs to look at their competencies, because I think we have a very competent Pisces, and it feels good to look at what what we accomplish in our own lives. It feels really good to be able to do that and give ourselves a pat on the back. We also have a Four of Wands, because I think our Pisces is, if they reflect on something and they reflect on their personal abundance, they reflect on adulting, let's put it that way. I'm a good adulter. I'm good at that. Adult life is tough, but I got it. You know what? I'm pretty good. Now, this is singles energy, right? So we assume our character is single in this. But here's the thing, during Mercury retrograde, if our character sits down and contemplates for just one hot minute, maybe they're going to take themselves to a little winery, have a little glass of wine, and just be like, I feel so sophisticated. I feel so good. Maybe Pisces needs to take themselves out on a little date and just really enjoy being this empowered single man or woman. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender. But I kind of think that Pisces is going to realize, because I feel so good about me, I actually feel really good about the prospect of relationships also. In fact, wherever Pisces is at for maybe taking themselves out on a single person's little personal date. I'm just dating myself tonight. Pisces could reflect very pleasantly on how much they actually feel good about themselves. And as they look around, maybe at that very same winery, because we're still there, Pisces could start to think, I could see getting married at a winery. In fact, I could envision me having a very happy, very contented life for myself. I love this place. I could see this as like, it's almost like they're getting a flash of what their future is going to look like, what their future is going to hold, because they're sure about what they want and they're sure about what they deserve. This is very positive energy, and we don't oftentimes get stuff so encouraging and happy. So I'm really pleased to see this for our Pisces. We have the High Priest. This is a single person seeing themselves being married, and maybe that would not have been a thought process that they could have imagined anywhere prior to this. Something has changed dramatically in our Pisces. They are in that head and heart space of, I can totally picture myself at my own wedding, having somebody sing the wedding march, beautiful dog voice singing. I'm sorry, my dog is exceptionally happy today and protective as always. This vibe of like, I'm ready to cross that bridge. I would cross that river with somebody. I would be willing to be married. After all, a single person who's envisioning long-term commitment and partnership. Aries, come here, good boy. I hope that wasn't loud. He was way at the other end of the house, so I'm hoping it was just subtle back there. We have death and rebirth. I think that this is a Pisces who was like, I'm not doing relationship. I'm not interested in relationship. Definitely never getting married again, I want to say. Or maybe I don't see myself getting married at all. This could have been a single character who was very just focused. Maybe they went through a tough patch where life felt like it was kind of upside down. It doesn't feel that way anymore. Everything has changed. I think this is a great retrograde period for our Pisces. This is not about exes coming back. This is about Pisces envisioning where they're going to be married, even if they have not met somebody. Now, there could be an important Taurus or Scorpio on the horizon. But even here, we have somebody's face who's hidden. This is really more about Pisces being able to envision their future, and it's beautiful, and they're very confident, and they're realizing, God, I'm so different now. I can see things that I never thought I would dream for myself. I see them for myself now. This feels really good. This feels happy. This feels exciting. Oh, I'm so glad for our Pisces. That is awesome. All right, next up, let's go to Scorpio. Hi, guys. Juliet, great to see you. Thank you guys for being so understanding with my boy. 01 frequency, love it. All right, next up, coming in at 29:11, we have Scorpio. Scorpio, this is a Scorpio singles story. This one is going to be for the retrograde period specifically. And for retrograde, obviously I have elephant behind me because it's great about like memories. And I always think about retrograde as, Mercury lapses, it goes around faster. So when it comes back around, we kind of are just a little older, a little wiser, and maybe we're going to revisit some thoughts and see it differently. I always picture retrograde as just hands on a clock. I say this every retrograde, so sorry you hear me say this 3 times a year, every year, but 3 to 4. But that's the way I see it, just because I go with a literal interpretation of, Mercury simply moving faster than Earth does. So it appears it goes backwards at some point, but it doesn't. And that is, planet of like communications. So this is like, I kind of see it as a character talking to themselves through things. We have the Hermit, we have Virgo energy. So during this retrograde, we could have a Scorpio that is really being a little bit more self-reflective. They might be tapping into something inside of their heart space, inside their head space. They might really be picking up on a little vibe of like, let me consider things just a bit. Let me consider, who am I? Where am I headed? What like actions have I been taking in my own life? How have I been talking to myself? The next card is the Star, which is Aquarius. So for Scorpio, I got to say, it's probably going to be a super like blast of self-awareness moment during this retrograde, where they are very clear on what their goals are in a way that maybe, sometimes we plod toward things that we in general kind of want in life without even realizing it. Like we gravitate towards certain things that we want. But right now, I think that Scorpio is like crystallizing, wait a second, I'm finding myself right here in life because I've been moving toward a goal. Now I know exactly what that goal is because I'm acknowledging it to myself. And this is part of like, you see the DNA strands coming down from the cosmos, and we have our Scorpio like walking right into it. I think that Scorpio during this retrograde is going to become aware of something very powerful within them, a life path, a life purpose, something that is really right for them, a talent, a gift, a skill, something they're genuinely good at, something they genuinely want. And they're realizing they're a heck of a lot closer to achieving this than they gave themselves credit for. We have the Seven of Cups. Here's the thing. I look at this more like this is the first big goal. And it's, how do I say this? I have to explain it in the way my brain sees it. I see a picture of a person who has been living their life on the day to day and the things that they've been interested in, the hobbies, the side notes. Like we all have a job that we got to do for money, right? But then we all have other interests and maybe even the programs we watch on TV or something like that. Those things, like because of the DNA strands, let's go and say that we have a Scorpio who's really always loved reading, true crime books, watching, the CSI shows, following things like that. And let's say throughout their life, they've always found themselves gravitating towards solving mysteries. They've gravitated toward, connecting with, humans and hearing their life story. And let's say they've developed a pretty good BS meter. Now, maybe on their day-to-day work, maybe our Scorpio has been somebody who, let's say they work at night in a call center, and it's like you wouldn't think that would also somehow be a skill set that they've been honing for their love of like forensic science. But if you're in a call center and you're trying to help people that call up at all hours of the day or night in different countries and give you their sob story about the things that are wrong with their product or their, whatever it is, I'm picturing somebody who does like, like computer tech chat, support helpline for some big tech company or something. The Scorpio could be somebody who is continuously having to sleuth out what's really going on, sleuth out what somebody is telling them the truth about or incorrect about. And so all this kind of, they've used these skills, they've used these things that they've been interested in, their hobbies have helped them focus on something. And now they're realizing it. They're saying in their mind, you know what? I'd be a damn good forensic scientist. I actually think I might have a real knack and a real interest in this. Maybe I actually want to go ahead and do something like this. Maybe I want to go to police academy. Maybe I want to become a private detective. Maybe I actually want to go into, forensics analysis. Maybe I want to work, doing lab work, looking at DNA. Whatever it is, it's like they're having the light bulb go on. I've done all these things my whole life because this is kind of my calling, and now I see it, and now I can see what I could do with this skill set. Now I see all the different avenues of great interest that my talents would be well applied to. It does not mean that they're going to suddenly poof get the job of their dreams. They'll have to work for it probably, but they know what their life path is. And I'm not saying this is anything about forensics. This could be, honestly, I feel like the Scorpio is good with people, though. I do feel like they're really good at getting truth because they're good at finding truth in themselves. I feel like they're good at mystery solving. We have the Hanged Man, and I feel like they're really good at being patient with putting things into play, being patient, listening to people, hearing things, and then, considering things from the other viewpoint as well. This is definitely something that gives Scorpio a lot of food for thought about themselves, about their own gifts and talents, and about how best to use their gifts and talents. Because Scorpio is having a big self-realization during this retrograde about their capabilities. Because this Scorpio, man, they have some serious talents, and they could apply those talents in different ways. And I think that they're fully appreciating that about themselves now, and then considering, all right, so what should I do with these talents? Where should I place these talents? If there is an element of romance in this, it would also be that Scorpio has been single for quite a while, and they are just now realizing that, yes, they are a catch, and yes, they could probably attract just about anybody that they wanted, but they need to be careful about who they are pulling toward themselves, because there's going to be plenty of options that they wouldn't want. And so they need to be mindful of that, because they're in a really powerful energy right now. And so careful, because they could attract ones that they don't want. So they need to be really mindful about that. All right, next up, I've got Cancerian. Hi, Violet. Great to see you. Fidelma Quinn. Nice to see you, honey. Hi, Juliet. All right, next up, at 3622, we've got, I'm going to do Cancerians. I normally do the Cancer, like full-length videos, only over on Tarot Dog, my other channel. And that is simply because Cancerian specifically was always getting swallowed up on my main channel. And so people didn't get notifications or anything like that. So I moved them and made them the star of the show over on Tarot Dog. When I do these single stories where I put every single zodiac in, I usually always incorporate Cancerian, because that would feel weird to me to not put Cancerian here. But anyway, I'll link this video over on Tarot Dog. So, and vice versa, so that my Cancerians can always find their content. Sorry that sometimes that happens on two channels. I haven't found the perfect solution yet, so I just do it this way. So this is a message for the retrograde, the chance, every time Mercury laps Earth comes back around, we get a chance to think about stuff again, possibly, but from a, 3-4 month older perspective. So we're a little wiser now. We have the devil. So I bluntly, Cancerian, if something is showing back up in their mindset, it's about how awful something was. You know what? That was crap in a basket. That thing, that situation, that was a bunch of horse shit. I don't like that one bit. I didn't like it at all. And you know what? I'm really glad I'm out of it. This is going to be a huge sense of relief. Whatever pops up into Cancerian's mind, I feel like Cancer squashed some serious, energy suck, or some things that just were like draining Cancerian, and it looks like they put a stop to that, which is awesome. And if that's what they're reflecting on, is a bunch of negative stuff in my life that I overcame or that I acknowledged was not serving me very well, I don't deal with anymore. I changed everything. This is a great time to pause and, Cancerian give themselves a little pat on the back, or, I'm picturing somebody turning on some of their favorite music. And I'm picturing kind of the fun, for whatever reason, that Do You Love Me, that song, Do You Love Me, that 1950s. I'm picturing the scene from Dirty Dancing, actually, where, everybody's dancing their little hearts out. But I feel like it's just fun, and somebody's in their kitchen or something, or in their house dancing around, because they're so freaking happy that they got over something difficult. And maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was something that just needed to go differently. Well, it's gone differently. Our character is ready to offer something new. They're ready to pursue something different in their life. They are ready to just move forward. And I love the fact that this energy is so different now. We have 6 of Wands and we have the 5 of Pentacles. Success over lack mentality, power over, concern of not being successful. I really think this retrograde is going to be a fine time for our Cancerian to view their life in a different perspective. They have come very far. They have freed themselves from many, many problems, and they are at a point where everything feels like a shiny new penny now. Their life feels different. Their capabilities feel different. Might there still be some things that they would like to, excel in, succeed in? Yes, but they will do that, especially from this point forward. If this is a transition period where, this could be about Cancerian said, you know what, I didn't want to keep working in a career path for the money if I hated it. So I made the change, and I have never been happier because I can compare. I was miserable every day. There wasn't an amount of money that could have made me happy enough to stay someplace. I have more freedom. I really feel like this is a big sense of independence for our Cancerian. I feel like, if they worked for a company where they worked a ton of hours and it was a real toxic work environment, they are now just doing it for themselves. If they were, and this could be anything, it doesn't even have to be like a job in some Fortune 500 company. Let's say it was, I used to babysit like every weekend for whatever, somebody's kids, and it was really stressful. Everything was really high maintenance. It was just really difficult. And I finally said, no, I'm not going to do that. I need to kind of be more in charge of my own schedule, not be at somebody else's beck and call. I don't know. I'm picturing that something became like a very strenuous job for Cancerian, and they finally said no to it. And now they've regained their free time. They've regained a lot of their own, I'll say their own happiness quota has gone sky high. And to have this death and rebirth, this is Scorpio energy, but it's sideways. It feels like there's a lot of new things still coming into their life, and there's a lot of the old aftershocks of the stuff that Cancerian has left behind that are still just kind of like being put to rest. I do kind of think, because we have people down on knees, kind of like in prayer position, I kind of think probably Cancerian is going to hear some apologies coming through from a couple of people, employers that might try to get Cancerian back. I'm also picturing somebody who like cleaned houses for a living, and they're like, I'm not doing this anymore, because they, the way they call me up and demand that I do this and that for them. And they kind of, I don't know, it feels like somebody was really taking advantage of Cancerian. Could it have been relationship? Sure. This is a singles read anyway, so we know that our character is single, but this really leaned more heavily toward, like in the macro. I don't think that Cancerian is dealing with anybody anymore who just gets to decide how much of Cancerian's energy they're entitled to. I think that is the new vibe. And I just think this is a great time to reflect on it and be like, wow, I changed my life around quite a bit by simply not letting toxic situations drain me, not letting people demand things of me. I didn't realize that's what was sucking me dry. It was never really about the money. It was about, how did I feel about myself? I'm good. I'm pretty awesome. But I don't want to be around people that keep dragging me down and trying to tell me that I'm not, but then they also want stuff from me. So very nice energy of freedom from that. But yeah, this says expect that the past is not completely done with Cancer. Probably there's going to be at least 2 people making apologies to Cancerian at some point in time. Cancerian can accept it and still not accept them back into their life, of course, but it's up to Cancerian. All right, next up, we're going to go into the fire signs. But before I do that, let me just jump in and say thank you so much, Juliet, you sweetheart. And thank you again, San Juanita. So today and tonight, I'll be putting out videos for Zodiacs on both channels. Probably more of those will happen this evening. I think I'm only going to probably get to this one right now, and then maybe do one video on my Kate's Regretless Life. And then I'll be gone for a couple hours, and then I'll be back later. That's what my assumption is, but things could change because I am kind of on call in case somebody needs me today. So anyway, I've got a friend who's going through something medical, and so depending on just how they feel over the next couple days, I'm kind of, well, for the next 2 weeks I'm kind of on call, just in case they need somebody to come pick them up or somebody to touch base. So MW, good to see you. All right, you guys. Violet, you're cracking me up. All right, next up, we're going into Aries. Aries is coming in at 4430. All right, here we go. Aries. Hold on just a second. We're going to change the timing. My baby. Aries. That's a good boy. Good boy, good dog. Hang on. I think we're going to come in at, I'm the reason I'll be timestamping these so people won't have to hear my doggy bark. 4500. All right, so here we go. So this is going to be a retrograde singles message for Aries. I'm saying it soft because otherwise my puppy thinks I'm calling him, and he just did a nice protective bark. But here we go. So I look at retrograde as that time and space where Mercury laps us. It comes around a lot faster than Earth does. So it looks like it's going in reverse when it's not. So I always look at it as just we're coming back around to a place where, all right, we're going to be able to be a little more mature because time has passed. We've gained some wisdom, but we might be readdressing some things. Well, this looks like Aries could be looking right in the mirror and seeing what they like about themselves, which is awesome. Queen of Wands, what's coming back around? I don't know. Somebody could put on an old outfit and be like, damn, this looks good on me. Could be somebody who fits in that red dress again. Could be somebody who's, masculine. Look, red is a color that tends to be, I think, one of the most eye-catching. It's bold. Somebody is ready to be bold again. And I think if a character is reflecting on anything, I think it's like, I've changed a lot, and I am very certain. This Seven of Cups is like a very popular card to come out for pretty much everybody today. It seems like, I think it's come out in like 4 or 5 zodiacs. But the fact that we have this strong sense of, Queen of Wands vibe is very empowered. It's very much like, yeah, go ahead and look at me. Look at me now. Hey, look at me now. I can't think of, that's some song, and I can't think of who sings it right now. It's in the rap category, but sorry guys, my asthma's acting up. We have got Strength card as well. And we got lions all over the place, which is great because it is Leo season. Even though this is an Aries story, still we're smack dab in the middle of Leo season. So I always associate the lions with Leo. There's a lot of bravery. There's a lot of courage. There's a lot of confidence. What our character is reflecting on, I think, is that, I forgot I was attractive for a little bit, and now I remember. I forgot I was brave for a little bit, and now I remember. I forgot who I was. Maybe somebody's looking at some old pictures of themselves and being like, spicy. I look good in that. I feel like this is a very positive kind of, I'll say, shot of self-esteem. And I think it's because a character is being very clear with themselves. We have a High Priest. We have a Knight of Wands. We have a 5 of Cups. All right. This is not to be mean. It really isn't. But I believe that our Aries is having, during this retrograde, they're having a very truthful sense of awareness that I definitely changed some things about looking at my past, seeing myself with realistic eyes, and I can see that I am somebody that was a catch. I can even realize that I almost think Aries is reflecting on a relationship, and Aries knows they're crying over me. I'm the one that got away. I realize that now. Maybe they didn't treat me that way, but I can see in old photos, I was a catch. It almost feels like if in the middle of a connection or a relationship, Aries didn't feel super loved or valued, or they couldn't trust the way someone felt about them, because maybe they didn't really see themselves from stepping outside of themselves to see how attractive they are, to see their value, to see their own worth. And I think oftentimes that gets, kind of like swept under the rug when we're in the midst of a connection. And then when we look back, and I think this is why looking back at old photos is kind of fantastic, because we see ourselves as we were and how the rest of the world would have seen us at that point in time. And of course, we never see ourselves the way we are in real time. But when we look back, then we can say, wait a minute, that's what the rest of the world saw? Oh, well, wait a second. That's who I was. That I was the catch. I just now I'm realizing this. And I feel like that's what's going on with our Aries. And I think it is making them feel a lot better and stronger to realize some truths about that. And I do think that they are reflecting on some kind of a connection from the past. And I think, if anything, Aries is, I don't think they're gloating over the idea that somebody is really missing them, but that is a conclusion that Aries has come to. And they also, because they are the one that got away, I think that they're realizing, yeah, I want to be taken serious and I want somebody who wants long-term connection, but I'm ready to date. And I'm starting to realize a lot of people want to date me. I didn't realize before, but I'm sought after. I almost think this is an Aries who is unused to like attention, and maybe they had not even noticed that a lot of people try to flirt with them. A lot of people would try to ask them out. A lot of people find them attractive, but this Aries had not seen themselves like that in such a long time. And as they are awakening to this during this retrograde, and again, it could start with like a visual, right? And I don't think that's shallow. I just think it's, thank God they're finally seeing themselves with a realistic set of eyes. Sometimes it's great if you've ever like walked by a storefront or something that has like windows or mirrors, and you glance over and you don't know that it's you at first, but you go, boy, that person has a great outfit on. And you go, that's me. I like this. But I kind of liked it when I put it on, but I really didn't see it. I liked the arrangement. I liked the way I thought it looked, but I didn't realize that that's really what it looks like when you're seeing it from a distance. It feels like that kind of, how do I say this? This character is not conceited. They're almost tickled by the fact that they're like, I'm attractive. I'm hot, and I kind of think it's really cute, only because this is so not a conceited character, but they are actually finally able to see themselves as the catch. And it's also hitting them that, wait a minute, my ex is sad over me. That's a big change in my mindset. I didn't think about it that way. So it's just a lot of like a positive self-esteem. And I don't know. I'm picturing what was that movie with Amy Schumer where she hits her head and then she sees herself as super, super, super hot. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so hot. And it was, she's such a great comedian, and the way she just was, and then her personal body confidence actually made everybody see how attractive she was. Even though nothing had changed about her. It's like, you were already hot. That was the whole point. You were actually already hot, but she never saw herself that way. It's kind of a little bit of that vibe, because it's just this Aries is such a likable character. And that's why I'm picturing it like as that character in that film. I never even saw that whole movie, but I saw clips of it. And I thought she's such a great comedian. So, all right, next up, we're going to go to Leo. Leo coming in at 53. 08. All right, Leos. So this is going to be the retrograde message. Hi, everybody. Good to see you out there. Hi, Natalie. Good to see you. Hi, Denisa. Porcupines. Lots of love, you guys. All right. So this is Leo, all about the retrograde. This is a single storyline. I look at retrograde as a chance to review things with a little more wisdom, little older eyes, right? Because Mercury laps Earth, it goes faster than we do. So it appears to be going in the reverse, when it's not, any more than the hands on a clock are going in the reverse. So as it comes around and passes 12 again, we just simply get a chance to look at or have the same ideas pop up into our heads sometimes. But now we see it a little different, perhaps, because time has passed. Things have healed. We are wiser. So what might come up? Our Leo has some big time healing going on. They are not heartbroken about something anymore. And in fact, so almost no zodiac has gotten much about love. Leo, this is about possibly saying, you know what? I am very ready for maybe a particular person that I used to be wounded over. If they came toward me now with a love offer, I'd want to hear it. That could be like a jaw-dropping change that the Leo is entertaining that idea. Like, I don't know, I don't really remember all the heartbreak betrayal stuff. I'm just kind of over it. So if they came forward toward me now with an offer, I don't know, it would hit different now. Now, this could also simply be that our Leo is saying, I'm not brokenhearted about anything anymore. I could do love again. Sure, why not? I'll give that another whirl. We have a Four of Cups, which can be missed opportunity. It can be illusions. It can also be boredom. I'm associating this more because this is so peaceful, right? We have a character sitting there, and we already know that the Leo has made peace with hurt and pain. And now we see them sitting here going, you know, I've really meditated over things. And sometimes in life, things that we think are the biggest thing in the world, over time, they diminish to the point where it's like, I barely even remember that. Honestly, it was super insignificant. Some of the stuff that hurts, we hold on to forever, you know, and we have to really try to let it go. Other things we realize are just very diminished. My thought on this, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying my thought on this is that perhaps the things in life that just become small and insignificant and blow away like dust out of our memory bank versus the things that remain painful and that we hold on to and that we almost nurse the wounds. I wonder if it has like a significant, the difference between those two is whether or not we came to a place of peace. Because once we don't care about something anymore, it doesn't really hurt us. Like, I could care less that total strangers don't like me. When someone that I care deeply about decides they hate me, then that hurts, right? Because it's like, well, I don't know you. Who cares what you think of me? But if somebody I really care about and know on a personal basis loathes me, now that hurts, right? But even then, I have to get to the point where I have to let it go. And so I have to make peace with that. Okay, this or this or this makes them not like me. Maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I need to work on myself. Whatever the answer is, I got to make peace with it. And then I can let that go too. But it just feels like our Leo got to the point where something also kind of became boring. Holding on to hurt or pain over something just bored them. That's, I mean, this feels like very straightforward Leo. Like, I'm over the whole thing. It's just boring now. So they let go of hurt and pain. They let go of things that could have been painful. They let go of the worry about stuff, especially about love. And they're like, you know what? Life's kind of too short to get hung up on stuff. You know, we're going to meet people. Sometimes it's going to be crappy, and then we're going to let go, and then we're going to meet new people. Leo is very open to hearing from an ex right now. This is the only one that comes across like one of those traditional, what we expect to see with the retrograde stories. This is a single Leo who they're not blocking an ex. If an ex showed back up, they're not even mad anymore. They're not hurt anymore. So yeah, that's fine. If it's somebody new, yeah, that's fine. I'm good. I'm open. My heart is clean. Let's do this love thing again. Let's talk. Let's allow things in. Three of Pentacles. This Leo has reached some point of like, I feel like they're practically impervious. I feel like they simply know from the higher perspective now. If they had an ex who was really, in some toxic mindset or had their own fears, and Leo literally could have dealt with somebody who was like a freaking brick wall before, and they didn't open up and they couldn't convey things, or they weren't who they should have been in the connection. Leo's like, well, yeah, but I can entertain the idea that perhaps they had a bunch of their own, wounds and traumas and all of those things, are their own reactions and responses. That's, what we all do that sometimes. And until we get a chance to grow beyond that, those are going to be our responses. But that's the whole point. Leo grew beyond their own reactions and responses. to someone who is causing them hurt and pain. And they're like, hey, if I can change, probably so could they. So if they've changed, fine, come on back and come talk to me, darling. If not, that's okay too. It just feels so like Leo feels kind of like one of those older and wiser individuals now, even if they're still very young. They come across as somebody who is like gone through enough life where it's like so many things are really small potatoes that we blow out of proportion. Really, if people can grow and people can change, and that's what they've done, sure, I'll talk to them again. Not a problem. Very nice energy on this. Very, I'm not even going to call it forgiving. It's that Leo grew beyond they're not sitting there like this wise yogi saying, I have found, whatever collective love flow and I can forgive all people and blah, blah, blah. No, it's more just like, you know what? We all do some shitty stuff sometimes because we're a hot mess. And then if we grow up, cool, we can talk again. Yeah, it just feels so down to earth. It just feels like there's not a whole lot of like heavy duty spiritual attachment to this. It's just matter of fact. That's really nice for our Leo. Excellent. All right. Next up, we have got Sag coming in. 10023. All right, Sag, here we go. So for Sag, this is going to be a single story, but it's specifically what is retrograde kind of bringing back to the surface. So if Sag is going to have something, pass through their mindset, because of course retrograde gives us a chance sometimes to recognize that we're a little older, a little wiser now, as Mercury laps us and maybe brings some thoughts or communication back to the forefront of our mind. What's different now? How might we look at things different? What would be in our greatest interest to address in a slightly different way? And we have the Empress. So Sag is sitting here pretty sweet, pretty much like a boss attitude. If they are recognizing that either they made, oh, look at this, they made some pretty boss moves. Six of Swords is about moving onward from pain, moving beyond being stuck, moving into calmer waters. I gotta say, I think that Sag is possibly looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, dang, I don't know how I got through that mess that I did, but I'm a lot better for it. I'm a lot better for the thing that I was able to do. I don't cry over that anymore. I'm not wounded by something anymore. I found what it took to move beyond something difficult. Ace of Cups, very nice, very like this is a huge amount of love in Saggy's heart. This is God, and the Magician. You know what I would say this is? We could have a Sag who had to basically reinvent themselves from the ground up. We had a Sag who, maybe they had to build themselves from nothing. And this could have been not just like, oh, what happened since the last retrograde, but maybe this is Sag looking at themselves from childhood onward, all the things I had to overcome, the difficulties. This feels like somebody who could have had like a childhood of lack, maybe like a really tough kind of, well, even here we see like kind of the images of like a harsh city, and there can be more danger, or there can be, not that there's not danger in the countryside as well, of course there is, but it just kind of looks like maybe even a kid who had to kind of like raise themselves to a certain extent. And as they did that, this is who they've become. This is an amazing thing to literally come from nothing into something by one's own intentions. I'm going to, rise. I'm going to make myself successful. I'm going to become someone, and people would never guess what my background was. And it feels like this is an amazing time to reflect on how far Sag has come. We can see their heart is very full. I think they're a very generous person. I feel like they are a natural nurturer, and I feel like they are a powerful manifester. But what's ironic about all this is nobody would know that they had no advantages in life. They had nobody to lift them up. They lifted themselves. I feel like this Sag somehow is recognizing that they were born into this world as like the spirit of, an emperor, empress, the spirit of like this they're meant to lead. They're meant to be someone of great consequence because that is their spirit. But they did not have an easy time of developing themselves and gaining this position in life. But they did it because they have a natural sense of personal dignity and personal value. This character has a lot to be proud of, and this Sag has a lot of I'll say a lot more to look forward to. And I think it's important that they recognize how far they've come, because it's going to help them to either propel forward even further, or it's going to help them empower others. They're going to be using their skill sets possibly. I could see this person like doing a TED talk. I could see this Sag, like standing in front of a crowd. We literally see a crowd cheering them on. We see all of this, ability to see things from a different perspective, look at life from a different viewpoint. There's a really awesome and powerful vibe for our Sag, and they're realizing that they can utilize this inner strength that they have to manifest more. But I think their time in life is to start maybe empowering others as well, or step more fully into a more visible place in their own life, in their community, or and sometimes people do amazing things one person at a time by being that that individual that like celebrates others and says something kind and uplifts others. It doesn't necessarily always mean that somebody has to be on a grand stage talking to millions of people at a time, although maybe Sag is going to do that, maybe through like a platform like this, or maybe they're going to do it in an actual physical arena, or maybe they're going to do it just with the people that they meet in their daily life. Maybe they're realizing that they do empower others. That is a beautiful thing to be. That is a beautiful gift to share. There could be a divine masculine in particular that Sag is realizing that they met for a reason. It could be that Pisces that we saw with that Hanged Man card. So lots of strong energy on that one. All right, next up, we are going into Libra, coming in at 106.12. All right, Libras, here we go. So this is going to be a singles retrograde message for Libra. And I always look at retrograde. I say this every time we have a retrograde, so sorry to say it again, but Mercury it laps us. It moves faster in its orbit than Earth does. So it looks like it's going backwards, but it's not. It's actually just going faster than we are. The same way the hands on a clock are always like going to be passing by 12. It's never actually going in the reverse. So it always denotes passage of time. And every time, something gives time and passage like that, it also says that we're a little older, maybe a little wiser, we're a little different because some months have passed in this case. We have a Six of Wands. So what is coming back in for Libra right now is a real sense of personal accomplishment, personal pride. I feel like Libra is going to be really happy right now. Really happy. They could be having success over an addiction or over something that had been like tying them down. Libra's going to have a victory. If this is what they're reflecting, Three of Swords, they are realizing that they have gotten over and found their, let me put it this way, this kind of dirty energy has not sullied them. Now, at one point in time, if they're reflecting on things, Libra might have said, I thought that I, had something awesome, and then it turned out to be super toxic. But recognizing that and having, power over it is huge. Absolutely huge. It's to realize that Libra got beyond a heartbreak, got beyond something toxic. The Hermit could have been a Virgo that they had to heal from, or this just represents that as they're reflecting on things from their past, they actually have grown to a point where they are not just like superficially happy, but something difficult pushed them through that Hermit's journey where they did some really profound growth. And they really, sometimes, as awful as it is to go through heartbreak, betrayal, and, dealing with toxic people, because I feel like this is a bunch of crap that our poor Libra had to go through. It looks like they went through so much garbage, people that weren't true, people they couldn't rely on. The people that maybe wanted money from them, people that weren't being fair about things like that, people that puppeted them, tried to get them to do their bidding because it behooved them, even if it didn't add anything of value into Libra's life. I feel like Libra was surrounded by like shysters, you know. I was going to say the gangsters and the wanksters. Don't ask me why that comes to mind, but that's that's what I want to say. Here's the thing. They're over it. They're over it, and it pushed them through this really deep, and even could have been kind of a lonely chapter of their life as they thought about, like, why did I deal with that? How did that end up part of my life? Why was I burdened with that? Why was I a victim to that? And they moved through that thought process, listening to their own inner voice and saying, what did I need to gain out of this? What did I need to have different in my life? Ooh, strength. This is awesome. We have strong Leo energy. This is definitely a Libra who has overcome. They have overcome a ton of difficulties. They've overcome pain and hurt. They've overcome massive problems, and they have become a much stronger person. But here's the irony of it. And this is the other thing I think Libra realizes. Why does somebody try to manipulate a person? We say, oh, well, because they think that person's weak. No, that's not true. It's the reverse. You don't need anything from a weak person because they have nothing to give you. People that want to manipulate find individuals that have something that they want. They want your strength. They want your power. That's what I think anyway. Doesn't mean I'm right. Remember, these are fictional stories. But I think it's a fallacy that people who get manipulated are weak. I think that's one more like insult. And it's because it's like the manipulators want to believe, see, I'm really smart and they're really weak. That's why I can manipulate them. Truth is, people who have to manipulate are the weak ones. If you had confidence in yourself and pride in yourself, you would never try to manipulate somebody else. You would reject that. The manipulator is the weak one. The person being manipulated is the strong one. Now, can they manipulate a strong person into saying yes to things that they aren't really fair? Yeah, but that's just because that person has a good heart, which is, again, a strength, not a weakness. And I think that is a really important breakthrough on this. This is what I personally happen to believe, and it is what I see in the cards. It does not mean that I am right. So please feel free to disregard that. But that's what I'm going to say. The message here is that Libra realized I was a fucking strong one all this time. That's why somebody tried to manipulate me. That's why they did successfully manipulate me, because I was actually a decent person. I was a person who could be manipulated because I have decency, but I was never weak. That is, look at how different that hits. Look at the strength, look at the empowered energy, look at the belief and the confidence that Libra now has in themselves, because they're like, that's right. I like me. I'm proud of who I am. I'm actually the strong one. And I think Libra was strong enough to, eventually see through this. If somebody intends to deceive us and it works, we didn't do anything wrong. They put in great effort to deceive and manipulate and do all those things. The fact that it'll work for a while and then eventually we'll catch on and be like, yeah, no thanks. All done with you. I'm moving on. That the person who got deceived or manipulated should never feel guilty, should never feel bad that they got fooled, because that was the elaborate plan, And it's like, of course it works for a while, but it's to this Libra's credit also that they can think back and say, yeah, that happened. But you know what? I'm also beyond that now. And I picked up a lesson out of that, and here I move forward, but it was never because I was weak. I am strong. That's really, it's a really beautiful turn of mindset. And I feel like this Libra has just completely, like, I'm picturing somebody flying and they were like low down on the ground. Now they're just like coming straight up. They're rising again. And I think they really like themselves again. That is a fantastic thing to be able to reflect on, especially during a retrograde. If the past is going to come up at all, it's so great that the past is coming up with this huge, warm, successful mindset. I love it. Gemini, here we go, coming in at 1:13:36. All right, here we go. Geminis, this is a singles retrograde message. That was the worst shuffle I ever did, but we got two that kind of fell out more than popped. Because it is retrograde, It's a chance to maybe have things, since, Mercury laps Earth, it goes faster. So it comes back around a little. And all that means really is we're at the same point, but we're older and wiser now. So if something pops back into our minds, how do we see it different? How might our character have greater benefit to view something from this new perspective, this older, wiser perspective? And we have a King of Cups, and we have this Page of Pentacles. So if something is showing back up, it is, I would argue, it is something that Gemini fully embraces. I feel like this retrograde could have awesome things, awesome opportunities showing back up. This could be somebody wonderful is coming to visit, and it's like, oh, I'm so glad you guys are going to make it. I'm so glad. This could be a surprise trip that somebody is taking. This could be a whole list of fun things that Gemini has wanted to do, and they're going to be able to go ahead and put that list out there again. They're going to start. I feel like it's a time to readdress things that had to be postponed. Happy things, specifically emotionally fulfilling things, are going to be looked at again and been like, oh, last year I wanted to go to the whatever Harvest Festival, but I didn't make it this year. I'm going to put it on the calendar. I'm going to go ahead and plan that for September. I'm going to make the list of the things that I don't want to miss out on. We have a Strength card. Strength is coming out a lot right now. Very nice here with the strong Leo vibe. And we're, of course, right now in Leo season. So I kind of think that Gemini has to put up some boundaries. If somebody's been squawking in their ear, you notice this lion is like roaring, and you notice how completely unbothered somebody is. Here's the big message. I think if in the past Gem tried to make time for themselves to do some things that they wanted to do, and then other people would whine and grieve and need Gemini to change their plans, Gemini always did. This time around, they're not going to be doing that. This time around, Gemini's like, no, I'm going to go ahead and do the fun stuff that I need to do. I'm putting in my time, to get those days off work. I am planning this. I don't care if at the last second my boss whines and cries and says, but I need you. Sorry, I already put in this time off. I'm not canceling my plans this time. There is a stoic energy of, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to plan the things that I want to plan. I'm going to give the time to the things in life that I really want to do and that I want to experience. I don't want to miss out on these beautiful things. I want the nice things that I have planned. And we have Emperor energy. I kind of think that Gemini needs to also set aside time for romance, whether or not they know it yet. This is a single story, but we have got masculine and feminine lions and an emperor. An emperor could be a boss also, but this is actually an awesome emperor. So I don't think it's a boss who would be whining and, demanding, cancel your plans. I need you to work this weekend. I don't see that at all. I see this as a potential lover. I think this could be a season, even here, it's a season for emotional openness. It's a season for, making time, being able to say yes, prioritizing things that are more important. And I think if Gemini is, having these opportunities to choose to, like, I'm going to go see family. I'm going to spend time with some friends. I'm not going to work all those extra hours. I'm not going to cancel my plans because somebody else is having a meltdown because they're acting. I don't know. This lion bugs the heck out of me. I'll be honest. This looks like somebody who is just whiny baby. It's all about me. I need attention. I'm having a bad day. Answer the phone. I need somebody to yell at. This could be like a grown-up kid or something who, like, seriously needs to check their behavior and not make it all about them. I think Gemini's going to be real calm and be like, not answering. They're upset today because I got a hot date. I'm going to go out on a hot date with some sexy emperor. Empress, doesn't matter. The time to preserve peace and preserve free time and to do things that are more enjoyable instead of listen to a bunch of drama. That's what this retrograde time is about. Because I think far too often in the past, I think that drama got in the way of enjoyable time. That's a very definite thing that Gemini is not going to allow to happen this time. I really think romance is at the forefront this time around, which is so exciting. That's awesome. I love the fact that we got a love story, I think, up ahead for our Gemini. All right, next up, we have got Aquarius coming in at 119.04. All right, Aquarius, here we go. This is going to be a singles retrograde message. So as Mercury laps Earth and comes around again, I always think of it as like we're just a little older, a little wiser now. I know I say this every single retrograde, but I look at it as like hands on a clock that keep passing 12 every retrograde. We're older now, we're wiser now. So the same thing can pop into our lives now, but we'll see it different. That's how I like to look at retrograde, not who's coming back and, you know, what X is returning or what communication thing is going to be impacted. I would rather think of it as a mindset and maturity. So we have justice. What is coming back is not so positive because if a character is reflecting on something, this says, you know what, that was a bunch of crap. that wasn't fair. I paid too much for that, or I shouldn't have spent money on that, or that's not the way that should have worked out. I don't like that. And I think that's definitely fair that, you know, our Aquarius would think that. We have a Queen of Pentacles sideways. This could be Aquarius is realizing that they overspent or they overinvested on something. They are considering like either recouping the loss or readdressing, renegotiating the terms of a contract. Hopefully it was a contract so it could be looked at again and you said, okay, wait a second. No, this isn't going to work. This could be just the lesson that I know better now. I know to be more careful with what things are out there, with what I agree to, with how much I give. We have a King of Wands upright. You know what I really think this is? Even though this is a single storyline, I think that Aquarius is reflecting on what went wrong in a past relationship. And what they're realizing is, you know, sometimes we want to give a great deal. And that is a beautiful thing. But if we're always rushing around and doing it before the other person gets a chance to give anything, we don't allow them to step up and be fair and be equal, even if they really want to. And I think Aquarius has realized maybe there's a role that they played in, hey, perhaps I should organize things a little bit different in life. Perhaps I should give somebody a chance. Let's put it this way. Maybe Aquarius realized I need to not just be the person who's dating somebody. I need to let them date me as well. Meaning I need to let them show me their heart, show me their warmth, show me how they want to give. Let me, you know, understand their love language. It feels a little bit like Aquarius is not necessarily looking at, oh, somebody cheated me, but more like, where has there been an imbalance before? And it could be that Aquarius either says, I maybe overgave and I'm going to pull back and I'm going to give somebody else a chance to step up to the plate and give to me a little bit more. I want to receive that warmth. I want to see how they care for me. And likewise, if I meet somebody who does not seem to care for me, they don't know any of my likes or dislikes, my interests, the things about myself are not important to them, then maybe they're not the right one for me, because I want somebody who knows that I'm, you know, whatever, that my most hated food is bacon, or, you know, who hates bacon? Let's be honest, right? But let's say Aquarius hates bacon. That's absolutely, they say they don't eat pork. They don't like pork. That should be something that, you know, a character cares about. It doesn't mean that a character will always remember every little detail. And if they forget one thing, oh, you don't love me, you don't care about me. No, of course not. But a character who wants to get to know somebody, who cares about an individual, you know, we got to let them get to know us, and we got to let them do the things that they shine at also. We got to let them have space to give and show us that we matter to them. We have the World card and we have the Emperor. I think Aquarius is going to have a very successful next relationship. Now, this, even though they're single, they could just now be about to meet somebody else. And that's why this retrograde is bringing into their mindset, what have I done in the past in relationships that ended up being vastly unfair? Oh, maybe I overgave. Maybe I'm going to have to, let the next person care for me a little bit. God, that could be really tough to have to learn how to do that. But I want to do that because it'll also allow my partner to feel more valuable as well when they interact with me. Because I'm going to be delighted when they care and they show me the ways that they care. And that's going to reinforce that, like, oh my God, you make me feel so good in ways previous partners didn't. And this is really nice. And that could make them want to step up even more. We have a marriage here and we have the emperor. The emperors are the ones who tend to get married. They want long-term connections. I think this is the difference between Aquarius dating people that were too selfish and were not kings or emperors in the past or queens. And this is the difference between Aquarius saying, yeah, but sometimes it was also me. I didn't let them be a king or an emperor or a queen because I wasn't behaving as a king or an emperor or a queen. I wasn't giving them permission to shine. I was over giving, so I wasn't really in my best energy either. It's just, this is really nice and reflective because it's all about seeing things through the different lenses and taking responsibility and then preparing for a really fantastic relationship that looks like it is about to blossom here. And I feel like it's going to be a much easier relationship than others. The only hard thing is Aquarius does have to pull back just a little bit and give that other person space to, like show their heart. Okay, that was nice. And last but not least, we have Ophiuchus coming in at 125.53. I can never believe how long I take on these. All right, Ophiuchus, here we go. Hey, Victoria, right back at you, sweetheart. Hey, Jessica, nice to see you, sweetheart. Signs and things, thank you. All right, Ophiuchus, here we go. So Ophiuchus, this is a singles storyline for retrograde specifically. So we have got this this is Cancerian energy. So it's a chariot and we have emotional balance. So during this retrograde, if an energy is coming back around and Ophiuchus is going to be reflecting on something from a wiser mindset, it could be to say, I think Virgo got this also, if I remember. Virgo was the first zodiac I did, and I think this was the first card out. So awesome that we're ending with this as well. But it feels as if, there was a chessboard, like I make a move, they make a move, or I make a move, then I make a different move. It's like arguing with myself, maybe over analyzing things, and then finally getting to the place of, no, I've completed my thoughts now. I said yes, then I said no, then I said I would, then I said I wouldn't, then I said I should, then I said I shouldn't, then I said I've answered my questions. I weighed the pros and cons and I argued until I got to the correct answer for myself. And I don't have to deal with this anymore because my confident answer is here and I can move forward on one path instead of this weird zigzag where I waste time. That is a huge sense of relief and something to be celebrated and cheered, because finding out why we do the things we do and being certain about what our next step is and being sure of what we want to do, I think that's where we do find the sense of peace, because nothing is more maddening than being unsure. And, like I should do this, but I don't think I can, but I want to, but I don't know that that's good. That's awful to be in that, because it like adds like tension, right? If you're about to sprint one direction and then you go, no, I should go this way. No, I should stand still. All of your body, all of your muscles keep about reacting and firing, and then you hold it back and it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. I can see why this would be so much of a relaxation and a relief now, because Ophiuchus has gotten to the point where it's like, oh, okay, we have a 6 of Cups. We have a Queen of Pentacles. This could be Ophiuchus is realizing that they've cleared the slate and they've said, you know what? Either I loved that person because they were a soulmate, or I love that person because they are a soulmate. I gave to them because I wanted to. And that's how it was. I don't know Why? I don't know if it was right, but I know this is genuinely how I felt. And I'll have to be mad at myself for whatever it is I did, however it is I did things. I did what I wanted to, what I needed to because of who I am. And I don't regret it because this is who I am. This is who I was. These were my reasons for the things I already did. I did it for love. I don't have to say that I'm sorry for who I am. That is a huge sense of relief. And if this Ophiuchus is going to say, and you know what, I'll probably love more people as I move forward in life. And I will probably always recognize that I gravitate towards soulmates. I can find them and spot them. And I want to give to soulmates. Now, maybe I need to be wiser about how much I give and where my limits are, but I know this about me. I find soulmates. I think this is a big breakthrough for Ophiuchus. I think that they are aware that every big connection they've had in their life, whether it turned out good, whether it turned out awful, it was still right because it was a person that they had a special bond with. And it was, in the long run, it's somebody that even if it temporarily depleted them because they wanted to give so much, I would still say Ophiuchus is still showing up as an upright queen and a very abundant one. I would still say that somehow these experiences, for better or worse, somehow do eventually add value into Ophiuchus's life. They learn more about themselves. Maybe they learn more about their inner child. You know, soulmates are the people that we're like in class with. You know, they're the people we pick up as friends or lovers in our lifetime, and we're in this big classroom of life with them, and we learn stuff together. And I think this is a very meaningful and happy way that Ophiuchus can summarize life experiences and the reason they choose the people that they choose, the reason they've had the relationships that they've had. I don't really think this Ophiuchus has any regrets about the people that they've gravitated toward, even if it turned out to be awful experiences. They're like, yeah, but there was a reason. There was a reason. You know what? Page of Swords, Four of Wands. There is a sense of trust in their intuition okay, here's the crazy part. This tells me that Ophiuchus has had plenty of situations that did not work out, maybe one in particular that was a hot mess. And instead of being devastated, and instead of saying, well, I can't trust anything, I don't know, well, how do I know what I'm supposed to do? I keep picking the wrong people. This Ophiuchus is like, I never picked wrong. I picked lessons that I needed to have. I am amazing. I have an intuitive nose that takes me directly to whomever that next lesson's supposed to be. I don't know how I do it. I just do it. I'm damn good at that. And now I know I'm going to keep doing it and I'm going to embrace it more fully. But this time I'm putting my nose out there to say, I want a soulmate that is like a happy partner. I want to be in a really happy marriage with somebody. And you know what? I know I can find them. I have a knack for this. I have this ability. I don't know where it comes from, but I already know. I think this is an Ophiuchus who has learned that like soulmates smell different. Soulmates, somehow there's a different, what is it? I don't know if they figured out what the secret sauce is. I only know that they have this ability. Now they might be actually trying to logically pay a little bit more attention to how is it that I know who a soulmate is? Because they do want to have the kind of lesson next or the kind of partner beside them to have in the classroom of marriage. This is a single Ophiuchus who is actually ready to have a live-in lifelong partner that they, file taxes with. I'm sorry to add that into marriage, but that's what I'm saying is like they're going to share everything, the burdens, the debts, that you name it. They're ready to do that. And they're like, I know that I'll be able to spot that person, but I'm kind of intrigued as to what is the special thing that makes me able to find soulmates. I know I can do it. I've done it my whole life. And now that I realize I do that, but I'm looking for a particular kind. It's kind of like, this is a great example. Here we have kids. This is like, Ophiuchus is saying, I've found plenty of soulmates. If my different phases of life have been, the phases of like friends that we have when we're children, we don't we don't know much about ourselves when we're kids. And then, maybe we have friends in high school and that's where we're really starting to figure out our identities a little bit. And then we have friends in college where we're pretty much sure about what we're doing and why we're doing it. We're a lot more self-aware. And then as we, like, let's say this is the equivalent of being in we're getting our PhD now. And that kind of connection, we're going to have very driven, very clear-minded. If you're going so far as to get your PhD, you know exactly what your discipline is. You know exactly what you're studying and exactly why. You know exactly what your area of expertise is going to be. You're not still figuring yourself out. You know who you are. So the kind of soulmate now that they're going to match with is going to be the person who's like very clear about who they are. But the formula is kind of the same. I'm still going to be drawn to somebody that is supposed to sit next to me in this phase of my life, in this classroom of life, while we're doing our PhD equivalent of life. The big relationship, the real drive. We kind of know really who we are. And I want to connect to a soulmate who's in that same vibe, who's in that PhD phase of their life also. Obviously, not saying somebody's getting their PhD, although that could be, but it's more like this is where my mindset is. This is how serious I am about my life, because I know what my discipline is. I know what I'm after. I'm really clear. Now, how does Ophiuchus meet that particular soulmate that matches him for this phase? That's the interesting part. Ophiuchus knows they can do it, but not even they fully understand what it is that makes a soulmate stand out to them. They're kind of, with that Page of Swords, they're just now kind of trying to ask themselves that question, because they know what they're looking for and they know they're going to find it. But it's the mechanism of it that they're kind of like mystified by. Like, how do I know? How do I do it? Intuition. It's just the big old moon. It's not something Ophiuchus can probably maybe break apart and quantify, because the moon is intuition and it's what's hidden, but it's not. It's hidden in plain sight. It's hidden inside of us all the time. It's a thing that's really hard because it's a gravitational pull. And, the moon is so much smaller than the Earth, yet it has such a profound impact that the gravity that it pulls on Earth with tugs the planet a little and sloshes the water on Earth's surface and makes tides. So you got to have somebody that moves you like a freaking tide would, like the moon pulls the tide. It's got to be that strong an emotion, that strong a pull somewhere in maybe the soul, or whatever the moon represents, the subconscious, whatever the subconscious represents. Like I say, the innermost self. I think that's it. That's not a direct answer, because it's actually still very cloaked in mystery. But when you know, like Lana Del Rey says. Now, granted, that song is more about like when you know that it's not the right person. It's interesting because we kind of still left this on this mysterious place, and yet the answer is Ophiuchus doesn't have to worry. They'll know. Delinda, what a perfect time for you to pop in. Oh my gosh. Delinda is the reason I do Ophiuchus. If anybody did not know, God, a long time ago, Delinda asked me to do Ophiuchus, and she was the only person I ever had request Ophiuchus. And so that is the reason I do Ophiuchus, is because of Delinda. And now there's, a small group that enjoys Ophiuchus as well. So thank you, Delinda, for starting the club. You are so awesome. Yeah, so good to see you, sweetheart. You guys, thanks again. I appreciate each and every one of you. So just so that you guys know, this video will come out tomorrow on my general channel, because I always do singles stories, usually on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. But I thought it would be fun, since I'm starting the retrograde series for all the zodiacs. I thought, let's give the members a chance to see something a little bit early, a little bit first. I just thought it would be fun for you guys to get a little something added. Also, right after this, I'm going to put out a little video where I'm just going to update you guys. There's nothing really that's changing at all, other than I changed some language on the way I describe the perks, just so that hopefully I never have any confusion. I just thought it would be a good idea. So anyway, I'll explain that a little bit further in the next video. But you guys, thank you, everybody. Lots of love. San Juanita. Well, there's many people that mention to me, if I don't get to a Taurus fast enough, I have many people that will write and tell me that it is time for a Taurus. And so, San Juanita, you're actually, I think, you could be the leader of the Taurus Club, but you already have other members in the Taurus Club with you. You guys, thanks so much. Lots of love, you guys. I'll see you again soon. Bye. Sorry, everybody.